Okay, so I'm back. Alright, part 2, toxic parenting within the Black community. So I spoke in a video that I did recently. I think it was over the weekend on my SKYYGoddessInfinityInc Instagram, on Sky with Two Eyes, on which I did a reading on justice. It was a justice reading, and I spoke about this in my Karma series. You can listen to that on the Grey Witch YouTube channel, or Sky Goddess Infinity Inc. YouTube channel. It's also there, okay, because both channels resonates with that message. It's a spiritual message as well as an astrological one. But what I want to say is, I talked about how miserable a lot of Black children are whilst growing up, whether they were grown in what supposedly a privileged upbringing or a impoverished one. There is a lack of justice for children in the Black community. And Black people, they wonder why it is that they are denied justice in so many, walk of life and so many aspects of the matrix. And it is quite simple when you really think. All you got to do is think about things, people, and the answers will come to you. Okay? The answers, they will come to you. Why you're being discriminated? You discriminate against the children. You take away their freedom, their sense of individuality, because you think that you own these children. You Black parents more than any other parents in the world. And that's why Black children are in such a rush to become adults, because you make for them, being children, a very miserable experience. And then when they get older and think they are free, they're somewhat bound just the same through fear. A lot of you use fear. A lot of you Black parents are narcissistic. You use fear to control your children and your grown children. Because the truth is, many of them never really grow into adults. They never develop a form of independence of character. Now, people think that being independent is all about earning your own money. No, that's not what independence really is, because we all depend on somebody in some way, shape, or form. Even if you are a self-made entrepreneur, you depend on your clients to support or to patronize you. And if they don't, you're out of business. So we're not completely independent, okay? We're not all independent financially. If we should lose, even business owners, if they should lose their clientele or patronage, their business is closed down. So you all depend on your customers financially. But to be independent, okay, is to be independent of character. And this starts from childhood, from a baby stage, where you allow your babies and your toddlers and your children to grow into their own characters and who they want to be as people. Now, like for me, I am not a homosexual. That's just my personal preference, It's just who I am energetically. I don't hate people who are homosexuals. I've told myself, I had to think to myself, what if I have 2 sons? What if any of my sons should become homosexuals? I don't have a problem with that. That's their choice. They're free to be whoever they want to be. But what I do not co-sign is them hurting others, them robbing from others, them abusing others, them being narcissistic energy vampires. I don't agree with that. And so I teach them to, treat others as they would want them to treat them. And that's the golden rule. That's balance. That's karma. Okay? That's you creating your own beautiful individual karma. And that could be horrible if you want to be treated horrible in return. Okay? And so, yeah, sometimes you're gonna experience persecution for righteousness' sake. But you gotta endure, you know? You're not gonna, like, you know, pay someone to kill somebody. You feel me? Like, if someone just kills your enemies, that's good for you. That's good karma for you. They're out of your way. But you're not gonna do certain things. Like, you're not gonna do certain things, like poison people, you shoot people. Like, if they don't physically attack you. I mean, if they're just mouthing off, just leave them, let them talk. Okay? But as long as they're not in your space attacking you, you good. Just let them talk. Okay? So, you know, a lot of you black parents are very dysfunctional. You take away the children, their sense of individuality, and you make them feel like they're less than living beings, because even the animals deserve, you know, a fair treatment. And you see within, especially the black communities, where black people, they abuse animals, they abuse their children, they abuse animals, they abuse children overall, not just their children, but children overall. They abuse the animals. It's just a very aggressive race. And this ain't got anything to do with slavery. It don't. I'm not like that, because I choose to not repeat a certain cycle. I choose to step outside of the race and be different from the collective. From that collective, that ethnic collective. Because I see that there's something wrong. It's a very violent race. And if you're going to deal with violence in these black dominant countries, and even the violent tendencies of black people in white dominant countries and other race dominant countries, then you got to deal with the violence within the households, because that's where it begins. Where children think it's okay to hurt someone or attack someone physically because they don't do what they want them to do. And we see that manifesting within the black cultures and the black communities ever so often. The man beating the woman because, oh, she didn't cook the food how he wanted, or she didn't cook the food any at all. Or she won't give him sex, or she just won't do her hair or dress a certain way, or do her hair a certain way. Or she didn't answer him, or she answered him in a certain way. And you have the woman who also abuses her spouse, her mate, because of whatever reason. Y'all men know. Because there are men who are also abused, I know that. But there are more women being abused in the black communities than men being abused. Okay? By women. Okay? That's a fact. So if you look at the percentage of the men being abused in the black communities by black women to the women being abused by black men, it's just like something that is, I'm not going to say not worth mentioning, because it still exists and justice is for everyone, but it's just it's a very small group. But it still needs addressing, because like I said, all for one, one for all. Justice is for all. If not for one, then not for all. Period. That. But the black community needs to fix itself, and you need to stop blaming the other communities, because they got their own karmas, they got their own karmic debts, they've got their own problems. Stop trying to get people to solve your own problems plus their own. Okay? Your karma is to suffer injustice because you are unjust, black people. And it all begins from the household. And then it begins from yourself, where you start loving yourself and, knowing that, okay, you deserve better. You're not accepting mediocre, the mediocre, you're not accepting abuse. Like, I walked away from an abusive, toxic spouse, and I knew that that had an impact on how my sons treated me, and that was confirmed by one of my sons. That the reason why they used to smack me and hit me was because they saw their dad doing it. He didn't need to tell me that. I knew that. I surmised that years ago. And that's what really propelled me to leave their father. Because I don't want them growing with that mentality that it is okay. Now, I made a major and very respectable, honorable, decent move as a woman. So I am homeless for a time, but that won't be forever. But I stood up for myself. I valued myself. And I also valued my sons, because I want them to grow into men, conscious and valuable men, men worthy of cohabitating with, or marrying and procreating with. Okay, so now they know that, okay, they're not going to do that to their wives, because their wife may leave them. Because they saw how, we had a beautiful family, but because their father is toxic, their mom left them, and all of that beautifulness and it wasn't that beautiful. I, tried to make it be, very harmonious as possible, but I couldn't do it anymore because I valued myself, and I saw that, you were taking advantage of my kindness. You took my kindness for weakness. Okay, I value myself and my offspring more than I value being with you. There are other fishes in the sea, and they're gonna grow and know that they should never put their hands on a woman because she's gonna walk. Even if she's not gonna walk, to them they're gonna think that, okay, because they saw their mom do it, and that's gonna aid them in being better men in society. And we need more mothers making conscious moves like those. Okay? Stop staying with these toxic fathers, these toxic men, just because they're paying for your housing, they're feeding you, or they're clothing you. You gotta respect yourself, and from that, you respect your children, and you nurture valuable children to society. And they will grow to become gems to society, not toxic men or toxic women.